few years ago, I was sitting in my office, and on my right-hand side, I had my friend, that leader, captain of the hockey team, never say no kind of guy. He's the vice president external, Connor Brown. And on my left, I had Ben Cannon. Ben Cannon is a stand-up comedian, and the position that he assumed was vice president student life. Now, my role was vice president operations and finance, and together we were 3 of the 5 executives for the University of Calgary's student union. Together we ran an $18 million organization, and were responsible for the fees and the activities of 25,000 students. And we were having a meeting, we were talking about whatever it is that student leaders talk about when we got a knock on the door. Now, we're used to knocks on the doors. Usually they're businesses or groups that are trying to pass along discounts to the student body, whether it be pizza if you bought a t-shirt, or a discount if you went to the dentist, or a pub crawl if we can bring students out downtown. But this wasn't one of those opportunities. This was something a little bit different. This was a once-in-a-lifetime journey that we would never forget, assuming everything worked out. So the girls came in, and it turned out it was RedBull. And they had their coolers on the back, and they were full of RedBull. And they came in, and they said, "Fellas, we want you to do this journey. Should you apply, and should you win?" Sure, what's that? It's called Can You Make It? We're thinking, yeah, we can make it. The journey was from London to Berlin. We had 7 days to do it. We would compete against 100 teams from 40 countries. All were teams of 3. Okay. Sure. What's the catch? That's where it got interesting. The catch was we were not allowed cell phones or communication or internet connection of any kind. We had no transportation, we had no accommodations, and we had no food rations whatsoever. We had to get across a continent with no currency, no money, nothing. The deal was that they would give us 24 RedBull at the start line in London, a list of addresses scattered across the continent, and if we miraculously made it to these addresses, we would get 24 more RedBull, and we would get to continue our journey for the remainder of the days to get to Berlin. Looked at Ben. I looked at Connor. So what do you think, fellas? Should we try? So this is a Thursday afternoon. Saturday morning, we come in, 8:30, a little bit foggy-headed, and this is the 1-minute video that we shot for our application.
Getting done. The road to Berlin is paved with RedBull and casualties. Are we gonna make it? You bet.
I oversee an $18 million organization that represents 25,000 undergraduate students. We have 6 business units, and my job is to make sure they're strong and profitable. Can we make it across Europe on just RedBull?
Yeah, probably there and back. I am Daenerys Stormborn, Khaleesi of the Dothraki Horde, and the Mother of Dragons. Can we make it across RedBull using only Europe? I don't know. I don't even know where I am right now. I need to go to the bathroom.
Hey, we're the executive team at the University of Calgary Students Union.
We made it here, we can make it to Berlin.
I love you.
Oh man. We got the call, and a month later, we're sitting on the River Thames with Tower Bridge right beside us. We had the beautiful RedBull arch that was there, and our team was ready to go. See, here's the thing. We weren't best friends by any means. We were colleagues. We were vice presidents. We were elected to our positions. We didn't really know each other all that well before, but we had a common goal. That goal was to make it to Berlin in 7 days and win the journey. So we're all ready to go. The gun goes off. What's our first thought? Which way is France? We had no idea. We were not ready for this. We were going to get it to Berlin, no problem, no problem. But we didn't even know how to get out of London. See, here's the thing. Getting out of London is kind of like hitchhiking from here to Toronto. Nobody's going there. Nobody's going from downtown London to France, and we didn't consider that. But we scrambled. We scrambled to the point that it got pretty tricky. We had burned 4 hours in downtown London. We were climbing over each other. We were cutting each other off when we were trying to talk to police officers, to civilians, to people downtown, until we realized that we were just burning time. Someone came up with the brilliant idea that we got to head to a gas station because maybe somebody's going to be driving somewhere for a gas station. And a couple hours later, we made it to the outskirts of London. That's where we got picked up by Scout. Or at least we thought his name was Scout. It turns out he was a Boy Scout. And his dad, Rick, they took us to Dover, to the cliffs of Dover, where the ferry was, but not without stopping at the Boy Scouts meeting so that we could tell them about our journey and make sure they had a lesson about warriors and adventurers. We got to Dover, and it was 10:30. The last ferry to France left at 10:20. It was 10 degrees Celsius and raining that night. We slept outside on the sidewalk with nothing. It got a little tricky here because we started to implode a little bit as a team, as one might, in the middle of nowhere, having never been to the country before, nor the continent, on this 6-day journey. We hadn't eaten anything yet, and we got a little bit chippy. We managed to sneak on the ferry in the morning, and when we got to France, things got a lot worse. The first problem with France, and not being true Canadians, as we should be, we didn't speak French. Oh no. Now we had to trade RedBull in a country with a language that we couldn't speak, that we didn't factor in, because our goal was Berlin, it wasn't France. We were thinking way down the road, as we do with our organizations, their 5 and our 10-year plans, and we didn't necessarily think about the little steps along the way. So there was a bit of a fight that ensued. Not like a physical fight, but we got to be a little bit, we clashed. There may have been some tears, they may have been mine, and things were going downhill. Until we saw the Swedes. The Swedes. So the Swedes were Brian, Rebecca, and Amanda, and they had come to the same train station that we were at with a skip in their step and a smile on their face and just like sunny days ahead. I'm thinking, what are you guys doing? How is this happening? I got tear stains on my face, and this is not the same race that we're battling in. Here's what they said. They said, you guys are looking at this whole thing wrong. She said, you guys have built a team, yes, you're aligned in your common goal, but you haven't built a community. Let's unpack that a little bit. See, a team is a group of people that come together to achieve a common goal. Ben, Connor, and I equally wanted to get to Berlin. We had thousands of people at home watching us. We had our parents that we wanted to make proud. We had our girlfriends. Well, who knew what was going to be on the line when we came home? But we didn't treat each other with the value and the fellowship that a community has. See, that's what the Swedes did. And when they told us about this shift from creating a team to creating a community, we took ourselves aside and we spent an hour just to slow things down a little bit. We wanted to understand from our team members what it was that each of us could bring to the table. You saw Ben in his underwear. He's hilarious. He's the people's guy, and when we wanted to get some food, he was now our guy to trade RedBull for food. It even got to the point where he traded 3 RedBull for a 4-course meal for all of us with a vodka. Bonus. It only took a little sip when you haven't eaten for a few days, that's for sure. See, Connor, he was really good at making these sort of longer-term relationships and building trust, okay? So he was responsible for accommodations. We slept a night in a hotel, we had a sleeper car on the train, and things got a lot better. Myself, I was able to do some quick, call it manipulation, maybe trading and bartering, but I really got us on the trains. In fact, in the first 2 days, we traveled 200 kilometers. In the next 4, because we made it to Berlin a day early, we traveled 3,212 kilometers with no money. And this happened because we weren't just a team anymore. We were something so much greater than a team. We ended up collecting 126 cans of RedBull. We used 13 modes of transportation. We traveled to 6 countries and traveled 3,412 kilometers in 6 days, not 7. And we made it. We had an incredible story to tell, all because we made a shift. And that shift was to give each other time and space, to make sure that we belonged and that we were part of something than just a team. See, we talk a lot about psychological safety and trust and belonging now, and what I've come to realize is that belonging is being somewhere you want to be and they want you. When we realized the value that we brought to the team, we fit in, we belonged more. But when we're building teams and we just look at skills and requirements in education, that's when people at times just fit in. We force a square peg into a round hole, and we wonder why we've got these cultural conversations and issues that are coming up. See, I don't think we should be building teams anymore. I think we should be building communities where we're rooted in fellowship, where we trust each other and belong. And that's what I want to talk about today, is building communities.